The Georgia school shooter. All right. So new details are emerging about him. And we're going to go over that right now, including his father getting arrested. So as indicated yesterday, I wanted to make sure that we got the right person, and I wanted to have a conversation. But let's dive into it. Colt Gray. All right. Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Killing Colt Gray.
Well, the Fox 5 I-team has poured through public records today trying to learn more about the accused teen. Late today, the I-team obtained a recording of a sheriff's office interview of Colt Gray and his father, recorded after the FBI received a tip last year about a threat to shoot up a school.
Fox 5 I-team reporter Johnny Edwards says a picture is emerging of a troubled family and Johnny some missed warning signs.
Right, from what we're learning, Colt Gray's home life was fraught with problems. Police reports and court records concerning his parents, Colin and Marcy Gray, reveal a broken family. Colt living with his father, his two younger siblings living with their mother. Marcy Gray was arrested late last year for scratching her husband's truck. Then when they arrested her, police say they found her with methamphetamines, fentanyl, and a glass pipe. She was sentenced to 46 days in jail.
Let me stop right here, first of all, because we're not going to absolve Colt of taking other people's lives and holding him accountable for what it is that he did in this school shooting. All right, that's number one. But number two, this is a subheading of number one. Do you see how broken homes and when people are not operating and they're having children with people that they don't like and that they don't care about, and you're not doing the best thing and doing the thing that's in the best interest of the children? Do you see how the children are the ones that pay for the sins of their parents? Meth head, fighting, scratching her husband's truck. I'm sure that he was fighting back and forth with her. He probably was a meth head too, because they don't usually do it alone. They usually operate in pairs. And they got more than one. They got 3 kids. 2 daughters is living with her, the meth head. And he over there with the father in a broken home. And then all of a sudden, everybody else got to lose their life because you basically groomed a monster. I think that both parents should probably be arrested, personally. I don't think that it should just be the father. Look, when we start to get past the initial shock of what happened and we can start to deep dive into the details of who these people are and we can start to mine out their background, we see that it's the same pattern over and over, and it doesn't matter what color you are. It don't matter if you black, don't matter if you white, don't matter if you Hispanic, if they want to label you a person of color, if they want to tell you that you an Indian, you got Indian in your hair in your family, that's why you got good hair. It don't matter. There is no privilege. It's all gone. It's whether or not you're going to do the thing that's in the best interest of the kids, because love is a duty. It's not a feeling. It's something that you do because that's what you said that you was going to do. Unfortunately, he is the product of his neglectful parents that ultimately created a situation, and she won't be held accountable for the monster that she helped groom. The father got arrested, right? And I think that that's only because, mob rules, and so people want to see blood, and so as a result, they're going to arrest the father. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to automatically pin this on authorities. We're going to pin it on the FBI. We're going to pin it on the police and say, why didn't you arrest him? Why didn't you hold him accountable when you first got reports and you interviewed him and they told you that everything was fine, but you didn't really think that everything was fine? We're going to pin it on them. But how can we never really hold the mother and the fathers accountable? Why is it only the people that's trying to prevent it and trying to basically do precog work instead of going all the way back to the source of how they found themselves in this position in the first place? The parents is more liable than any government agency that's supposed to use some kind of technology to prevent whether or not it was supposed to be a school shooting in the first place. Every time, almost every single time that you see something like this happen, almost, not all, it is a broken home. It is a broken home. I am tired of people coming up on my panel sitting there telling me that it's okay for y'all to be single baby mamas, single baby daddies, or be born into dysfunction, and that made you who you are. Somebody gonna tell me one time, Anton, ain't you glad you was born in the hood? That made you who you are today. Man, get out of here. That's drama. That's PTSD. That's stuff that no kid should have to be subjected to in the world. That's crazy. You should not be. Let me get out of that. Let me continue to mine out these details. We're going to find out everything that's going on with this kid.
Also last year, Colt Gray and his father received a visit from Jackson County Sheriff's investigators. They were looking into an FBI tip. Apparently, someone on a gaming app had threatened to shoot up a middle school. They believed Colt may have been involved. According to incident reports, the then 13-year-old told investigators he didn't make those threats. Here's a sheriff's investigator talking to Colt Gray.
I promise I would never say something like that.
So you haven't used Discord in a few months?
No.
And you're saying you didn't say anything like that?
No, the only thing I have is TikTok, but I just go around there and watch videos.
Okay.
Colt's father told police he did have guns in the house. He said they were accessible but not loaded. He said he and his son would go hunting together. He said he wanted his son away from video games and into the outdoors. Colt even shot his first deer that year. Colin Gray also told police his son had problems at school.
I've been up to school, like I'm on first name. I just was up there 3 days ago for his finals, talking to the principal, like, look, we talk about it quite a bit. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah,
Hey, are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
Sound like it's a deeper conversation that need to be had. We're going to have this on After Hours tonight, but it sounds like a deeper conversation need to be had. Oh, man, now Anton got to be the bad guy. Now we got to start deep diving into being the bad guy. I don't want to do this. Why? Because it's not popular for me to do it. Why I got to be the bad guy? You know, I would like to have this show and just chill. I would like to have this show and just be able to, you know, give my little thoughts and my little opinion of what's happening once we start to discover different stuff. But now Anton got to be the bad guy. Do I want to be the bad guy or do I got to be the bad guy? Do I want to be the bad guy? Because y'all got to remember that this is an interview that happened prior to. This is a previous interview where they came into his home and they said, hey, man, kid is over there making threats. And I can't tell you how many times when I was younger, people used to make threats on Xbox Live. I can't tell you, look, somebody says I call BS, that's an excuse. Excuse for what? Come on, y'all. Get out of your emotions. Get that female out of you and let's have a real conversation. Get out of your emotions and get that female out of you and let's have a conversation. Stop trying to live in an echo chamber. Okay, I'll be the bad guy. Since y'all gonna force me, I'll be the bad guy. All right, cool. So let's really mine this out. All right, let's mine this out. Number one, we're never going to excuse him of the behavior that he did because nobody is gonna make an excuse for anybody. He's gonna be held accountable, even though he should be held accountable to a much greater standard. That goes without saying. So we're gonna see how that plays out in the court of law. He's gonna be held accountable. We know they're gonna charge him as an adult. They're gonna throw him under the jail. This conversation that they're playing right now is a conversation previous to the incident that happened over the last couple of days. Meaning that this was the interview that was recorded by police officers when they questioned him and his father as to what is going on in the home life. The father said, listen, man, I'm up at the school all the time. I'm up at the school all the time. And we're not going to excuse the father either, but let's use our context clues in order to have the whole conversation, not just one based off of how you feel, because I don't care how you feel. I'm going to say what I really think. The father said, hey, man, I'm just going to tell you. He in there getting bullied too. He having problems in school and he getting bullied and it's something happening. So, okay. Nobody should lose their life. And that goes without saying. And I'm not going to keep prefacing what I'm about to say by saying all of this stuff. I'm just going to get straight to the brass tacks of it. Y'all kids outside of him too are demons. Y'all kids, and it is the parents' responsibility to train and gird up their kids to be able to take what happens inside of these classrooms and inside of these schools. But y'all kids are not angels. Yo kid, you that's watching this right now, your kid is probably a demon too. Y'all in these schools and y'all doing some of the worst stuff that ever happened to these kids, and you don't hold your kid accountable because they not the one that's getting bullied. Oh, Anton, why you got to say that? Don't you know? I'm going to be for real. Let's get all the way real. He the one that decided to do the worst thing of the worst and to do the devil's work. But we not also minding out what's going on all around him, because the devil don't just come out of the blue and just start doing stuff either. There are other things and other factors that go into it, and we don't want to have that part of the conversation. Man, so listen, some of y'all kids, especially in high school, because I think he was a 9th grader, some of y'all kids that's in high school, they are worse than grown adults. They are some of the most demonic, evil. They will say some of the worst things. They will destroy your confidence, especially if a person has grown up. And so again, we never going to make an excuse and say that it was justified for him to do anything. But now that we can start to go through the context clues, I'm trying to figure out who was the bullies too. What other people were participating and ultimately creating and fostering this environment, and were the parents also notified and they didn't do nothing about their evil, demonic kids either?
After that talk, police left. They weren't able to substantiate the tip. Here's where a breakdown may have occurred. The Jackson County Sheriff tells us she believes her department alerted Jackson County schools, telling them keep monitoring Colt Gray. In an email obtained by the I-Team, a sheriff's captain tells the FBI, we have made area schools aware and will monitor this subject. But by that point, Colt Gray had already finished 8th grade at Jefferson Middle School. By 9th grade, he and his father had moved to a different county, and that's where he started at Appalachia High School.
It sounded like the father was trying to keep some kind of, he was trying to fix it. He was trying to get to it. But let's see why the father was arrested.
GBI announcing the arrest of Colt Gray just hours ago. We have team coverage of the Appalachia High School shooting tonight. Eric Mock has the story of what made a teacher so special. But first, Denise Dillon live outside Appalachia High School with more on the arrest of the suspected shooter, Colt Gray's father. Denise?
Yeah, standing right here on the school grounds, the GBI director said 54-year-old Colt Gray has now been arrested in connection with a shooting here at Appalachia High School.
The GBI has arrested Colt Gray, age 54, in connection to the shooting here at Appalachia High School. Colt is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of 2nd-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon.
GBI Director Chris Hosey said Colt Gray's charges are directly connected with the actions of his son. 14-year-old Colt Gray is charged with 4 counts of felony murder. ATF and GBI agents were at the home where Colt lives Wednesday, searching for any evidence that could give them more information about what led up to the shooting at Appalachia High School. The FBI says both Colt and his son Colt were interviewed last year in Jackson County after the FBI received anonymous tips about online threats of a school shooting at an unidentified location and time. Authorities determined then that there was no probable cause for an arrest. The GBI director went on to talk about various other threats that were made at schools across the state Thursday. He said these actions are taken very seriously, and law enforcement acted quickly and made arrests. While the investigation into the mass shooting at Appalachia continues, Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith says the community continues to heal.
We're heartbroken. A young person brought a gun into a school, committed an evil act, and he took lives, and he injured many other people, not only physically but mentally. But I'm proud of Barrow County. I'm proud of our superintendent, and I'm proud of where I live. And we'll get past this.
Somebody is saying that the father bought him the gun. I don't know what kind of gun that he bought him, but they also said that they used to hunt. I used to hunt. I had my own guns when I was younger because I used to hunt. We used to go deer hunting. We used to go rabbit hunting. So I had my own guns too. So I don't know. It's a lot more to it. I'm going to stay on top of it, but I'm not going to sit here and pity-pat around and act like it's just only one side to the story. There's layers. And unless y'all ever want to get to the truth of how we can change the culture that also contributes, it's the parents' fault, it's the kids' fault, it's the culture's fault, and we're not going to remove responsibility from anybody because I know that it's people in this chat right now. You, some of y'all, as y'all was growing up, now we adults and now we got kids, and so we try to remove ourselves from our past because we don't want to deal with it instead of figuring out why the culture is what it is and trying to create a different environment. We are responsible for our children, but some of y'all in this very chat was the bullies, and some of y'all was some of the people that was getting bullied. I don't think you remembered how it feel to have to deal with some of the things you had to deal with because you was awkward, you hadn't grown into your body, and kids that were cruel. And their parents were even crueler, and the kids got it from the parents that then carried it into the schools because they felt like they was better than you. I'm thankful that I was never the type of person to ever get bullied. I didn't have to worry about that. And even if I was to get bullied, then it didn't matter because I had tough brothers and I had tough parenting that kept me in line and then didn't let me feel some type of way about it because we had to have thick skin in order to be able to survive in our households. They couldn't bully me because I was going to bully you. It was just is what it is. I can cap on you. We could, whatever you wanted to do, that's what we was going to deal with. But everybody don't have that. Everybody didn't have that strong upbringing. And so, it takes, to an extent, a cultural change, but we don't want to have that part of the conversation. We only want to say, oh, it's their fault. Okay, cool, it's their fault, but how do you change it from happening again? Because it's not enough for us to just say, hey, make sure that we do gun checks. That don't got nothing to do with nothing. Don't have nothing to do with nothing. Hey, make sure that ain't what it is. It's not just that. It's a layered approach to solving for some of the issues that we see happen in this society. Part of the issue was that he got a broken family, a broken home, a mom that was on meth. It's a lot of layers to this, but unless y'all want to actually have the genuine conversation, we're going to deep dive into it on After Hours tonight.